Big story tonight, hidden danger.
Alarming findings about kids and lead poisoning in Metro Detroit. A new report zeroing in on Highland Park. 1 in 7 children there have elevated lead levels in their blood, and that's the highest in the state.
City of Detroit a close second. Just about 1 in 12 children there have some form of lead poisoning.
You picked this as our big story when we invited you into our editorial meeting this morning. Our Team 7 coverage begins with 7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig in Highland Park to show you what's behind this problem. Kim, that's frightening.
It really is, Glenda and Dave. This report involves children age 6 and under, and researchers say the detrimental effects of lead are magnified in Michigan's urban areas where homes are older and sometimes substandard living conditions increase the risk of exposure.
It's scary because there's a lot of side effects of lead poisoning. Like it messes with their learning. Eventually, although right now she's so smart, she does so much stuff, you know what I'm saying? Eventually, as she gets older, it slows down her learning.
Troy Jackson has to keep a close eye on her little girl Nevaeh after the 2-year-old was diagnosed with lead poisoning last year.
The state, for us, they sent out a pamphlet saying, hey, your baby has lead poisoning. Can we come in, do some sampling of, of the testing? And I believe the state offers assistance to the homeowners to help remove all of the bad lead, to come in and get it painted and things of that nature.
Up until a few months ago, little Nevaeh and her mom lived down the street with Grandma here in Highland Park. And results from a recent study by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services says they found 14% of children here in Highland Park with elevated lead levels in their blood, the highest percentage of children in all cities and counties tested in the state, and one of the main sources could be coming from older homes.
Homes built before 1978, I think around 1970 or so, the government stopped use of lead in paints, and then houses since that time have paint, and then they're redone and remodeled over and over, and sometimes those paint chips from the lead gets into the child's body.
Dr. Sanjay Lakhani works here in Highland Park, specializing in pediatrics and family practice.
Lead, like we have iron and calcium, it competes with them to get into your body. So whenever a child has lead, we try to give them extra calcium, extra iron, which will then compete over lead and not let the lead get in the child's body.
When 5 micrograms of lead per deciliter are found in a child's blood, it's considered elevated and action needs to be taken. Jackson says her daughter tested nearly 3 times that.
They want us to go back and get her tested again because my house is actually older than my mom's.
And Dr. Lakhani says something that could help is a mother breastfeeding for the first 6 months. That way, he says, tap water is not being used to make formula. For more on our big story, let's go to my colleague, Heather Catallo. Heather.
All right, thanks, Kim. Even though the state does not know the source of the lead for the children affected by this, of course, when we think about lead now, we all think about the water system thanks to the Flint water crisis. Now, Highland Park is on Detroit water, and Detroit city officials say they've been doing consistent testing with the EPA, and their lead levels are well within national standards. Lead paint in old homes is probably the bigger culprit here, but in case you want to double check the water lines to your home, here's what you need to know. Aging homes in southeast Michigan often have lead service lines that connect your water supply to the water main.
Normally it comes up through the floor of the basement or through the wall of the basement and into your water meter. That's what you're going to want to look at, is what type of material that is.
Wade Kovach with Plumbers Local 98 has been a plumber for 32 years. He says if the pipe is a smooth dark gray like this, you likely have a lead service line.
From your meter out to the sidewalk valve would be lead service if you see this type of coloring or this type of pipe hooked up to your water meter.
Kovach says newer homes use plastic or, better yet, copper.
Copper's the best you can do.
So copper coming into the house is also a good sign.
Kovach helped replace service lines and fixtures in the homes affected by the Flint water crisis. He says anyone who's on Detroit Water, now known as the Great Lakes Water Authority, doesn't need to worry about having lead service lines. As long as the water is treated properly, you should be fine. He says it can cost thousands of dollars to dig up the service lines, and you may be better off just testing your water on a regular basis to see if it's worth making that investment.
Bottom line is, if you got lead there, then it's worth to go buy a $20 water test and have your water tested. I mean, do it once a year. It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt to do it with anything.
Detroit has the second highest percentage of kids with elevated blood lead levels at 8%. They just launched a new lead strategy this spring. Also, I want to point out, when city officials find out that a child in Detroit has elevated lead levels, the city's been sending someone from the water department to the home to check the water lines, and the lead has not been tied to the water in any of those cases. Glenda?
All right, Heather, thanks so much. And for more information about getting the pipes tested inside your home, head to our website, WXYZ.com.